Can you kind of update us on Antoine's circumstances?
Yeah, Antoine is, he left Wednesday morning after about very early on Wednesday morning after the game Tuesday night, and he is in New York City now with his family, with his dad. You know, it's been a difficult time, you know, for Antoine and his family, and we just have them in our prayers.
I mean, I guess his aunt died that he was close to not long ago. Is he all right? Have you talked to him? Is he?
Yeah, we've been in touch every day and talking and texting and done so with the team as well, and so you know, his status as far as when he's going to come back is uncertain, so we just sort of take it day to day and just pray that his dad, you know, survives this, you know, really difficult time.
So you don't expect him probably Saturday? I don't guess.
Really don't know. Really don't know. It's possible, but you know, my advice to him is he's got to be there for his mom and for his family, and if and when he's able to get back, he will, and if not, then he won't.
To further that, Bruce, also an update on Taj and what the severity in his project.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you know, this is his 5th or 6th dislocation, and now he's had a couple on each shoulder. Never had a separated shoulder up until this year, but he's going to need surgery on both shoulders, and he's going to shut down. His first surgery will be next Thursday. It was something that, you know, when it got to the point where he was having to decide whether or not he should go for a loose ball or not, whether or not he could set a screen or not, whether he should reach and give help and try to strip and rip. And it was funny because he said that he got off to a great start against Arkansas, and there was a play where he could have got a ball and created a turnover, and he chose not to, and just moments later the opportunity presented itself again. He did, and you know, reached in and wasn't able to keep that shoulder in. So at this point now, we don't want there to be, you know, any more damage, and he's been a real warrior, battling through a lot of pain. As you
look forward, at the very least for Saturday, but going for the rest of the season, you're without Taj, and at least possibly for tomorrow, you're without Anthony. What is your backcourt?
Well, what it'll do is it'll mean that K.C. Ross Miller will have to play a lot more at the position and try to stay out of foul trouble. Malcolm is still playing point guard and can play the position. Pat Kime, who's the walk-on from up in Birmingham, is our 3rd point guard and is ready to go. And then the rotation inside at the wing, on the wings, is really KT and probably TJ Lang would be looked at. TJ even potentially as a starter. So we're thin at point and we're thin on the wing. You know, so our numbers are down. But we've been in that situation. We've been in, you know, 8 scholarship situations before earlier in the year. You know, you don't like to be in that situation right now. Certainly Taj and Antoine were 2 of the top 4 players in our rotation, and you know, it's going to be difficult to compete without him.
You talked about Taj as kind of both energy on defense, but also just his energy on the court. How big of a loss is that from just an emotional, like, on-court sense?
I think he's our best perimeter defender, and yet, you know, he hasn't been as strong defensively this year as he would have if he'd been healthy. You know, you know, it's been a real factor. It's been a real challenge, you know, for him. He's well coached defensively. He's well drilled defensively. He's in the right place at the right time, all the time. But he just couldn't make as many plays. And, you know, when we go up against, obviously, the rest of the way, you know, we've got almost every game is against an NCAA tournament team, almost. Maybe all of them, not all, but most of them. And so, again, it just continues to be, you know, really, really challenging. But our guys have you know, they have competed, and they've found ways and to be in games and be in a position where we can, you know, where we can play. And so we, you know, we might be a little bigger. We might play a little bigger because Malcolm can't play as much at the 4 spot. He's really been good offensively for us at the 4, and our numbers, our offensive numbers, I think, speak to that. The defensive numbers, you know, just not having the ability to protect the rim. When you say that, you know, that means other teams post offense. That means other teams driving the ball to the basket, inside shots. Our 2-point field goal percentage is very poor because of the lack of size.
You talk about adding size. Because of that, maybe more Trayvon, more Alex Thompson, trying to just do some things just to get more minutes?
Just, yeah, to take up the minutes, and again, because of the thinness in the backcourt, it could be difficult to play Malcolm at much 4. And again, yet, he's been really good there. I mean, again, especially offensively. It's been his better position when he's been out there with the other 3 guards.
Because of the thinness of the backcourt, is the optimal rotation now to go big? Is it Sim and Trayvon and either a Jordan or TJ or something like that with KT and KC? Is this basically going to go from a guard-oriented team to a forward-oriented team?
I still don't think I don't think we're going to get. We may play more traditional at 4 and 5 now, maybe. In other words, if you don't have KC and Taj, and you add more TJ, well, he's 6'6", and that gives us a little bit more size. And then if you are going to not play Malcolm as much 4, then you are looking at more Alex, you are looking at more Trayvon. How much more, you know, will be determined. But we're never going to get big, you know. I know just when I was watching the Ole Miss game live, and, you know, we're competing in the second half, and they're just scoring at will. And when Ladarius White drove it and rose up in the lane, and he was the tallest player on the floor that we had, because Sim was out there, and Malcolm was out there, and 3 guards were out there, and it was like, and he's a guard for Ole Miss. It was, yeah, it was challenging. So, yeah, and the thing about it is this. Other guys have the opportunity to step up now, and other guys have the opportunity to fill in a different role. And, you know, TJ knocked down a couple of threes and played like he belonged a little bit. May answer that for me, tell everyone. And that was actually Mrs. Mason just giving me an update. So they're going through a lot. And so just about being right and being ready, you know. Can Alex play a little bit better? You know, can Trayvon continue to be productive? You know, so on and so forth. So as a coach, you know, I just look at that and go, yeah, I mean, we're going to miss those guys. There's no question. But it gives other guys a chance, and we'll see what they can do and what kind of a team we can put out there.
How, when you talk about the challenges this team has faced, and not just with the losses, but obviously with everything that's going on right now with injuries and Antoine, how difficult of a season has this been for you personally? Well, it's been challenging, and it's no fun to lose.
But you know, you just take a look at a couple of the teams in our league that are at the bottom of our league. Take a look at South Carolina. South Carolina is a much better team than they were a year ago, with almost everybody back. A team a year ago that beat Kentucky. And they got a lot of way to go, and they could put a few together down the stretch. But yet and still, in the non-conference, they were a shining star for our league. They'd beaten Iowa State on a neutral site. They beat Clemson. They've got one other major win. I'm not sure who it is, but there's another major win they have there, big time. And, you know, They won 3 SEC games, I think, right? Okay? And they're better this year. The league's better. You know, Vanderbilt's won 3 SEC games this year, and they're much better than they were a year ago. They beat Purdue earlier in the year. Purdue's in second or third in the Big Ten, I think, last time I checked. But, you know, I don't know whether we're better. I don't know whether we're better. I do know, you know, Chris Denson was a first-team all-conference player that is hard to replace, and Hassan played a lot of basketball, and Allen played a lot of basketball, and they're obviously what returned, you know, was 4 scholarship players at least at the beginning of the season in November, December. It was, you know, it's obviously challenging, but I've enjoyed coaching these kids, and I enjoy how hard they've trained and how hard they're working, and I enjoy the progress that they've made. And you know, we still have a chance to beat some teams that are better than us, and that's an exciting proposition. So we'll roll our sleeves up every single day and figure out a game plan to try to compete with the teams we're competing against, and keep laying the foundation. I feel bad for our fan base, I do, because they've come to Auburn Arena in unbelievable numbers. I do think they're enjoying the games. They're not going home, you know, feeling as good as they'd like to go home. But I think they're also gaining a respect and understanding for SEC basketball. They've seen really good teams come in here, and you know, with perhaps the exception of Coastal Carolina early in the year, they've seen us get beat by teams that were better than us, and they've seen us beat some teams that were better than us. So, but I do feel bad for them that we haven't had more reward, but I think they understand where we're at.
Do one more.
Could you talk about Georgia?
Georgia's solid. They're just solid. A veteran, been there. These kids have been there 2 and 3 years together. Could have, should have been there last year had they gotten up to a little better start in the non-conference at the end of the year. Anybody will tell you they were playing right there with Tennessee and Kentucky and Florida, and we all know what kind of run those 3 teams had in the NCAA tournament a year ago. They've got plenty. They got enough size. They're physical. Mark Fox is an outstanding coach. I competed against him for a couple of years when I was my last 2 years there, and was 500 against him. And they run good stuff. Stuff they run's hard to guard. Suits their personnel. They're physical. They're strong. They're not real deep. And at some point that could be a factor for them in their run. Their win against Texas A&M on Wednesday was significant to beat Texas A&M at Texas A&M. Texas A&M probably a little deeper than Georgia, but Georgia last year was where Texas A&M finds themselves in this year, right there on the bubble. Georgia's been in the bubble. This team should have gone to the tournament last year and felt that way, and so I think they're just positioned with a little bit more confidence.
Can I ask real quick about Thornton? I mean, what does he pose? What kind of
Thornton is he's a guy that I recruited when I was at Tennessee, and he's a really productive player. Got really long arms and does an outstanding job of using his body. He never comes across his body. He can do things with his left hand as well as he can do with his right hand offensively, and defensively plays the same way. He blocks shots. He changes shots. They got to pick. They got a stretch four-man that can knock down threes and yet is physical on the inside. And man is a man. I mean, he can obviously make plays. They're not deep, but they've got quality. And so I can see Georgia. I would expect that Georgia's going to continue to have a good run and be an NCAA tournament team.
All right. Thank you.